area to work in. Alright. Alright, so today is going to be coriander and spiced wet seasoning. So, I'm just going to get my knives. Bag of goodies. I haven't used one of these in a while, but it's a grinding stone. Once the coriander seeds have been roasted, put them in here, grind them up. And then you can put onto the biltong when it's been an hour in the wet season. Alright. Got two sizes of beef, deciding on which one I want the coriander on. So you've got the Irish beef, or it's roasting joint, or both the roasting joints, just deciding on which one I want. So, I think I'll go with the Irish one. Right. Always remember to keep your hands safe with these knives. Highly sharp. So, make sure it's going away from you. And undo. And then with the excess blood, tip it out into the sink. That off, because you don't need it. No, that's not eye blood, it's from the beef. Then with this netting, cut it off. And straight into the bin. And then obviously you can cut that off, but you have to get that anyway. And what you typically do is wash it. And then make sure it's just rid of any blood. Hence why I've got a big roll. Wipe down. And then get some more. And then dry. Doesn't have to be too dry, but dry enough. Now it's time to get the fat off. I like to get the fat off with this fillet knife because it is bendy. So find the best place to start cutting the fat off. And when you're actually getting the fat off, pull away whilst you slice. Okay. And then put it in a little pile, and then you can put it in the bin afterwards. Try not to take as much beef off because you're going to be using that beef to actually be making the biltong. It's a bit like crackling, you like to keep the fat on. So it's one of those things where you have to sort of balance your meat and fat. Basically the beef side is what you really want, not the fat and biltong. So taking as much of the fat off as I can, so that's what I've left with. So once you've done taking the fat off, you put it to one side, work on the next bit. fillet knife to the side because I've got another beef to turn into biltong. Put that there. Now I'm going to go for one of my other knives. I've got a selection of 3. So, small one, medium, and a large. I quite like my large because it's quite comfortable and weighty for what I need. So I'm going to start with the bigger one. So typically what you need to do, have it length. You don't want to do it on width because it'll be too short for you, so you need it length. And then keep your fingers out of the way because again, sharp. Then just slice forward and back. And put your fingers in there to split. Not being rude or anything like that, but it's a way to actually sort out the slices. Then do the same again. And again. And so you get slabs like that. So back to the side and then repeat. Just seen there is taking a loose strip off, so I thought I'd just take that bit off and put that aside. That's ready to go into the wet seasoning. And now this time I'm going to get the right position that I want and cut into strips. Meat has been trimmed, sliced to where I want it. Put my knives away. Now, need a bowl. I'm not going to clean the surface because I've got another beef to do. So. The wet seasoning is malt vinegar and I can't remember the one now, but I've already pre-mixed this. This one's got the spiced malt vinegar in it, so let's give it a shake to get it mixed in again. Pour it into the bowl. Once that's all into the bowl, the meat is ready to go in. But Worcestershire sauce, that's the other one. quite expensive, so I like to try and reserve it. So put the meat into the wet seasoning. Doesn't matter if you get your fingers wet, you're going to wash them anyway. Alright, set that aside for an hour. Right, for the dry season, quite simple really. Get a small pot, pan, put on the hot plate or gas if you like, and what I tend to do, get the weight of the actual dry season. So here's 26 grams, and I'm going to match that with salt. Salt is a key part in the drying process. It helps cure the meat to like a really dark colour. So it's then once you've heated the pot or pan up, put that in. The whole thing. And let it roast. But you have to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to burn. Keep tossing it just to make sure it's not burning. And it doesn't matter if you let it cool because it would have been roasted and ground, so it'll be ready for when you actually put it onto the meat itself. You have to let that, once the dry seasoning is on, leave it for an hour before you hang it. A bit like with the wet seasoning, let the meat soak the wet seasoning for an hour so you get the flavour when you have it later. It's the same with the dry seasoning, you get the flavour. Yeah, so keep this going for a little bit until the coriander is ready. Start, like when you actually do this yourself, you can start smelling coriander when it's roasted. You hear them crackling and popping, you know they're almost done. Feet now. Now you can put it in the grinding stone now. Has to be all of them. Right, put the pot on the stove again if you're going to use it again, or put it in the sink ready to wash. So grinding. So once you've finished grinding, or you think it's finished, then you can put that into a bowl. And then you can weigh up the salt. If you've got rock salt or sea salt, you grind that too. But if you've got table salt, just weigh it up. Mix it in. Okay. Right. Your typical bowl to put the dry ingredients in. Pour it in. The smell of coriander when it's roasted is beautiful. Right, so set that aside for the time being. Right, scales. You can have digital or analog. But I choose digital because it's easier for me. So once you put the bowl on, you got to tear it so it doesn't weigh the bowl itself. It's still weighing. Okay, so doesn't want to play ball with me. Now I want to match the coriander to 26 grams, so now. 27, that's thereabouts where I want it. So once you've got the weight of the salt, and mix the salt into your coriander, then I can take the scales off because I won't need that just yet. Right, so as soon as I've got the salt and coriander like that, get a teaspoon or a spoon if you like, dessert spoon. So I've got a teaspoon because it's only such a small amount. Just mix it in. Once that's roughly mixed in, leave it aside. The beef has been going for 10 minutes already, so when it's ready I'll come back and show you the next stage. Anyway, for the time being, I'll see you in a bit. Alright, time to take the meat out. It's changed colour a bit. Just take the meat out of the wet seasoning. wet seasoning out now into this bottle. Aside, rinse out the bowl and dry it off. Okay, and then you can put the meat back in and then put the dry seasoning in and mix. Okay. Your hands or a wooden spoon for this. I'm going to use my hands. Yes, it will get a little messy. Once all the dry seasoning is covered the whole meat, take the meat out again and then place it on a drying rack. The reason for that is to get all the liquid off, so it's easier to hang up and you're not spilling the liquid all over the place. So that's all done. Rinse your hands and then rinse the bowl. Dry the bowl out. Aside because you can use it later if you're making a second batch. So right now that is drip drying for 1 hour. So see you in an hour. Right, Biltong nice. Now I'm going to go over to the dryer. So we'll see you over the dryer. Hey guys, or viewers, I've just hung my biltong up, but what I've done is I've hooked my meat in, as you can tell. Basically these hooks are known as butcher hooks, or S hooks, because obviously it's shaped like an S. You just hook them on, just like so. It's quite easy to do. What I've done here, I've put 2 strips of meat on some of the hooks, we go, there's 2 on there, just to save hooks. And well, I don't usually put as much on one string, but I've got a second patch to put up, and set it at 25 degrees, that's ideal for biltong making. And I don't really like to put 2 batches in one system, but at this stage I am going to, because I've got 2 batches to make. This is the first one, and I've only done the coriander flavouring because my partner loves it, and there's another one that I'm doing which also she loves. And yeah, I'm doing that for her basically. And when I'm here I check it every day, and when I'm not here my partner checks it out, just make sure everything's going alright. I've got a fan up here, get all the moisture out, the heat lamp, which is actually very hot, so never touch it. But I don't sell it myself because I don't have the required certifications to sell it, but if you do and you want to make biltong, you can sell that. But if some of my friends want to try my biltong, they can do so, but I know it's up to standard anyway. But they're more than welcome to try my biltong. But I actually put this together myself, and bought all the stuff, the cabinets, the thermostat, the wiring, the lamp, the lamp holder, and everything else that goes with it. Even the fan on top, which is now blowing hot air upwards. But anyway, I'm going to close this for now and let that cure whilst I make my second batch. I'm not going to film the second batch because there's no point of filming it. It's just standard flavouring, just the wet seasoning, and then salt to help cure. And it's the spiced malt vinegar, which I'm going to be doing. Anyway, catch you booze later. And for now. Alright, it's been a week now since I last put the batch of biltong in here. Well, there's 2 batches actually in here, and it is that time to get it out and empty this cabinet, ready for the next 2 that I'm going to be putting in today. And so I got my handy bag ready. So just basically reverse the process is by taking the hooks out with the beef, but always make sure you got your little handy box ready, and it's underneath the cabinet, so you can put the butcher's hooks in. So as you can tell, it's pretty much done now. It's been in there for 7 days, and yeah, it's literally reverse. It's unhooked. So when you get that bit off, put it straight in the bag, and basically do the same process for every single one of them. Yeah, now you can see what I'm doing right now. So one after the other, biltong in the bag, butcher's hook in the tub, and it's a repeating process. And if you do have a food license and various other things, and you're making your biltong, you can actually sell this. typically biltong, like when I started making this, is about £40 per kilo. So it may have gone up since then. So probably looking at about £45–50 a kilo at a guess. And then that's not the wet price, it's the dry price, which is what this is. And yes, I do have larger pieces. So now the original. This is the coriander seeds. Beautiful when it's dry. So yeah, put that in the same bag. Might as well. And as you noticed, that I've got 2-on-1 hook. Doesn't matter. At least it's dry. Put them in. Hook off. Pull them off. And straight in the bag. Don't worry if the coriander seeds fall off. It doesn't matter. There's still flavour there. And in fact, when you do actually take the coriander flavour biltong off, you can smell it. It's like really powerful. But when you actually taste it, it's like top notch. But yeah, nearly done with taking all these off. But yeah, it's great. What actually helps with the drying process is actually the salt, because that's how things get preserved with. Just obviously weigh the salt out and stuff like that, according to what the weight is of the meat. Once it's wet, well, when it's wet, and then when it dries up, it actually shrinks. I can't remember the percentage, how much it shrinks, but it's a pretty good percentage. You know, like with the mummification, like with the Egyptians did it back in the years ago. They use balming salt and stuff like that, and it shrinks up. That's pretty much the same thing what you do with beef. But not wrap it in whatever. But yeah, as you can tell, it's now empty, ready for the next batch or two. And the batch that I did a week ago is now in there. I like my biltong really dry, so I leave it for 7 to 8 days, maximum 8 days. Today's the 8th day. If you like it a little bit moist within the actual biltong sticks, and leave it for about 5 days, depending on the thickness of the actual beef itself. And yeah, so it all depends on what you prefer. But me, it's dry. It has to stay in longer than 4 days. But yeah, that is now done. And I'm currently seasoning my next batch right now. But anyway, I won't bore you with that because you've already seen it with this video. But yeah, done, dusted, spot on. Anyway, I'm going to leave this on, ready to put my next one in. Anyway, take care guys, see you soon. Oh, before I go, I am going to be putting a light in here. I'm not going to put it on yet because I want to still record. We're actually putting the light fixtures in,
drilling the hole and whatever. I've already put it all together and tested it. It works. It's just having to put it in and taking the light switch off so I can wire the cable through and reconnecting once the hole is drilled. But anyway, I'll see you again soon. Anyway, take care guys.